After understanding electrolytic cell and galvanic cell, let us now first see what are electrolytic cells. Now, to go through the examples of electrolytic cell, these are the cells where we are going to carry out a reaction called as electrolysis. What is electrolysis? If I break this into two words, lysis, that is separation, electro, that is electric current. So it is actually a break which happens due to the transfer of electric current. So it is defined as a process in which an electric current is used to bring about a chemical reaction, and because of that chemical reaction only your given species will break, that is lysis. Or you can also define it as a process in which electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. So when we understand electrolytic cell, it is simply going to carry out electrolysis. Now let us see an example of electrolysis of particular electrolytes. In electrolytic cell, we are going to take first example, that is electrolysis of molten NaCl. Molten or fused, they both means the same. NaCl, that is nothing but sodium chloride. Remember, we always carry out electrolysis of only and only electrolytes. Electrolytes are those which can form ions on passing electric current. So generally we take examples of all ionic solids. Now molten NaCl. For this electrolysis, we will be making a electrolytic cell. Now first let us concentrate on the construction of electrolytic cell. Now electrolytic cell is basically developed by dipping two metal plates into an electrolyte. In this, our two metal plates are made up of carbon. Sometimes it is also written as graphite. It is the same. Now depending upon this electrodes or these plates are attached to which terminal of our battery decides who will work as anode and who will work as cathode. As just discussed, in electrolytic cell our anode is positive. So the plate which is attached to the positive terminal of battery will be your anode, and the one which is attached to the negative terminal of battery will be used as cathode. So the first and important thing, we will be having two plates fused in a electrolyte. In this, our electrolyte is NaCl. Now the external source, because electrolysis is the one where you are going to convert electrical energy into chemical energy, and it is non-spontaneous. So we will be requiring an external source. That external source is nothing but our battery. Now when you draw battery, you should always keep it a point that the longer or the big vertical line stands for positive and small vertical line stands for negative. So the positive end connected metal plate is your anode and the negative connected plate is your cathode, dipped into its electrolyte solution. Whenever the question comes in an exam is to explain electrolysis of molten NaCl or electrolysis of any molten electrolyte, the first and foremost important is to draw the diagram properly. If your diagram is not drawn properly, irrespective how good have you written the explanation, it will have no value. Reason is the presentation, that is your diagram is wrong. Generally what mistake students do is with respect to the charges. They write down plus as cathode and minus as anode. No, the positive end in electrolytic cell is anode and the negative end in electrolytic cell is cathode. Next thing is the flow of electrons. Anode is the one on which oxidation happens, means there is loss of electron, and cathode is the one where reduction happens, means that is gain of electron. So whenever we show the transfer of electrons, the arrows are important. That is, it should be from anode to cathode and not other way round. That is the very important thing. Okay. Now once we draw the diagram, let us go further with the reactions taking up place in an electrolysis of molten NaCl. Now in molten NaCl, the first reaction will happen, that is your NaCl molten state will dissociate to form cations and anions, Na plus cation and Cl minus anions. They both will liberate, or they both will start migrating towards the two electrodes. Which electrodes? Well, that is important. Cations always migrate to cathode, Cc. Anions always migrates to anode, Aa. That is how you have to remember. So the first thing will happen, that is oxidation half reaction, which will take place at anode. And as I mentioned, towards anode, what will migrate is your Cl minus ions. So at anode, 2 Cl minus in molten state if migrates, they will form 2 chlorine free radicals by giving out 2 electrons. This is the primary step happening at anode. These 2 chlorine free radicals will combine together to form a chlorine molecule. That is your secondary process or secondary step. So actually at anode, what will happen will be a sum of these two, where these 2 chlorine free radicals will get cancelled. So the reaction taking up place at anode will be 2 chloride ions will form chlorine molecule in a gas by liberating out 2 electrons. This will be your overall oxidation half reaction taking up place at anode. Why oxidation? Because here it has involved the transfer of 2 electrons or the loss of 2 electrons. After cathode, now let us see what will happen at anode. As I mentioned, after anode, let us see what happens at cathode. As I mentioned, towards cathode, what migrates is your cations. In this, Na plus is your cation. So Na plus in liquid form will undergo the process of reduction half reaction. Means it will gain 1 electron and convert itself into molten sodium. So this is your 1 half reaction happening at cathode, and this is your second half reaction happening at anode. The next step is to write down net cell reaction. While writing down net cell reaction, we have to again rewrite both the half reactions. At anode, oxidation half reaction. At anode, reduction half reaction. Now, if you just concentrate, at cathode, the transfer of electron, the loss of electron was 2. And at anode, the transfer of electron was 2, whereas at cathode, it was 1. Now, always remember, there can never ever be electrons present in the pool. Means, the number of electrons lost should always be equal to the number of electron gain. So as this is losing 2 electrons, I'll be multiplying my reduction half reaction by 2, making it as 2Na plus 2 electron, giving me 2Na. That is why here your reduction half reaction has become 2 times of what I have written here, because of to balance the number of electrons. So we will be writing down those OHR and RHR reactions. Whatever is same on the opposite side will get cancelled. So in this case, it's only 2 electrons which gets cancelled. So what we end up with, 2 Na plus ions plus 2 Cl minus ions forming 2 Na, that is sodium in molten state, plus chlorine, 1 molecule of chlorine, that is chlorine gas. Okay, so this is your net cell reaction taking in an electrolysis of molten NaCl. After knowing the construction of electrolysis of molten NaCl and the reactions. The next part is to write down the results. In results, as we saw in our overall cell reaction, that there happens to be formation of sodium molecule and chlorine molecule. So what we observe or what we find is a pale green color chlorine gas is released at anode and a molten silvery white sodium metal is formed at cathode. So at anode it is chlorine gas deposited and at cathode it is sodium metal getting liberated. Okay, so these are the two important results which happens during the electrolysis of molten NaCl. Now, need not always compulsory that they can give you only electrolysis of molten NaCl. They can give you electrolysis of any given electrolyte. So, as I mentioned, electrolyte means it will be an ionic solid. So, basically what we need to know is one important thing. In that given ionic solid, metals will always form cation, non-metals will always form anions. As I mentioned, cations will always move towards cathode, carry out a process of reduction. Anode will always move towards anions will always move towards anode and carry out the process of oxidation. When we write down the overall cell reaction, always an important point is that the number of electrons lost should always be equal to the number of electrons gained, and for that we can multiply it with any common factor. So during an electrolysis of any ionic compound, always remember the result will be such that a metal is always formed at cathode and a non-metal is always formed at anode. Why so? Because metals will always form cations. As they form cations, they will go and liberate at cathode. Similarly, non-metals always forms anions and they will go and get liberated at anode. So, irrespective what electrolyte they give, in place of NaCl, if they give you calcium chloride. So, calcium chloride, calcium is metal, chloride is or chlorine is non-metal. So calcium metal will deposit at cathode because it is metal and chlorine gas will deposit at anode because it is non-metal. Rather than calcium chloride, if they make use of aluminum chloride, so again in the same, aluminum will deposit at cathode and chlorine will get deposited at anode. So irrespective of which electrolyte they use, the basic thing is always and always metals forms cations, so they liberate at cathode. Non-metals forms anions and they liberate at anode. That is the thumb rule which you need to remember while writing down the electrolysis of any given electrolyte.